Have you ever wondered how Chase and Status make the continuous hits? Well, today I'm going to be creating a track like the new mixtape 2 Ruff Volume 1. Welcome back on How to DNB with Inverse Audio. As always, my name's 5X, and I've got another banger for you today. Can we please smash the subscribe button? There's only 23% of you subscribed. I'd like to see those numbers pushed up a bit. And we're also going to up the like goal to 300 likes, so if you guys could do that, I'd honestly be eternally grateful. Leave a comment with what you want to see on the channel next, and without any further ado, let's get right in the video.
Chop out the rhyme and slap that look Barbie's like she bite she's out here calling me Ken. Now I all your VD what's cool, now I ain't doing up films. We're born up block, this not clips, doing up stems. I know he's hiding, if I can't find then I'm doing his friends.
Before we get into the video, I would like to announce that our Black Friday sale is now on. To celebrate this, we've released a brand new Inverse Audio Presents Drum and Bass Volume 2 sample and preset pack. Now let me just tell you that the amount of time I've put into this pack is crazy. I'd even like to make a claim that this is one of the best drum and bass sample packs out there on the market. It's got everything you need to create a track from start to finish, from drum loops, 129 drum one-shots, 122 individual effects such as rises, sweeps, impacts, atmospheres and more, and not to mention the 142 total serum presets. More info's on the website, so what are you waiting for? Head over to inverseaudio.co.uk and pick up yourself a bargain. Sale will finish on Tuesday 28th of November at 11:59 British time, but let's get back into the video. In the realm of drum and bass, your rhythm section is the heartbeat of the track. Chase and Status, masters of the craft, gravitate towards short, snappy and clean drums. Maintaining a pristine mix is key, so resist the urge to overcrowd your beat. Opt for a classic two-step drum beat foundation, but don't shy away from innovation. Take a cue from the track On The Block, where they collaborated with Mosey, Savo and Horrid One. Integrate a straightforward hat every quarter note, and inject energy by incorporating strategic drum breaks to break up the monotony of the groove. Alright guys, so welcome to FL's studio. As always, I'll break down each element one by one, and then we'll play them together. So first, we've got a really nice snappy kick, and now all the drums, apart from one drum break, and everything else is from the Inverse Audio Presents Drum and Bass Volume 2. I've also used a few presets from the Rampage preset pack that we have, but these drum sounds are really good, really crisp, clean, and quality. So the first is the kick. As you can hear, it's just really short, snappy. There's not too much going on in it, and that's what you want. And we've got the snare. It's a bit more of a metallic sounding snare. It's got a bit more character to it, and that's why I chose it. And then for the hats, we've got one every 8th beat. And then we've got the smaller, thinner hi-hat, which plays every 16th. Now to break up the groove of this, what I've done is I've moved this by 2, shifted it with shift and mouse wheel, and then took it down in volume as well, just to give it a bit more of a groove, so it's not the same hi-hat playing all the time, just so it's not as robotic. And then I've layered it with one of my top loops. And yeah, together that sounds like this. As you can hear, it's nothing crazy, but it hits, and that's exactly what we're looking for. Every phrase, at the end of every phrase, I've also added this drum break from the pack. And then this kick that leads back into the main drum loop. But yeah, keep things short, nice and clean, and you want snappy samples. Chase and Status's signature lies in their bass lines that resonate throughout the entire track. Channel their style by selecting 1 or 2 prominent bass sounds with a distinct body. Avoiding excessive high-end richness, the key is simplicity. Craft a catchy yet non-repetitive pattern that maintains a dynamic balance. This approach will ensure your bass lines serve as the backbone, just as evident in the latest album 2 Ruff Volume 1. Alright, so now for the bass lines, what I've done is I've incorporated 4 main bass lines, and then I've layered everything with a sub. So the sub is pretty self-explanatory. The sub here that I have is sub 2 from the latest pack. It just sounds like it's got like a bit of an 808, and that's created with this LFO that takes the pitch down. Right, the first bass that we have here is this whomp. So with this one, LFO's doing all of the work here. It's set to an envelope at a 4th, and we've got the F50 add seconds and the acid wavetables. So as you can see, it's controlling this peak over here with a filter, and then in the effects, we've got a distortion and another EQ being created, and another peak being created by the EQ. And then this comb filter, without it sounds like this. Just makes it a bit more metallic sounding. Now for the effects on this bass, we've got a decapitator and a rift, which really gives it a lot of character, because without it, it sounds like this. which is nice. It's clean, but you want a bit more harmonics in it. So that's what we've done there. Right, and then the next bass, probably the most iconic one in the track, is this laser sound. And then I've done a pitch bend on it. So the second one goes up, the first one goes down. And for the effects on this one, we have a riff, once again, just a nice distortion. Got a Valhalla room for a bit of reverb and a wider to make it more wide, ironically. So the patch for this one, now this is one of the only sounds in the whole entire track that's not part of the pack, so I created this one from scratch. It's being controlled by LFO1 and that's controlling the volume, and we've got a BS2 subby saw. And then the other one that we have is a sine wave, which is set to +4 semitones at +1 octaves with quite a lot of FM, and that's what gives it that metallic ringing. And then I've also mapped macro 1 to the octave, so if I want to switch it, I can, and I do later on in the track. And then we've got this one to control the rate, so either the 1/4 triplet or the 1/8, just to give it a bit of variation in the rhythm and not make it too boring. So yeah, those two sound like this. See, that sounds really good, nice and clean. It's repetitive, not too complex. But just to break it up a bit, I've added a different fourth bar, which sounds like this. We've got the sub effects wobble, and then a classic headaches horn stab. Semi-automatic, blah, blah, blah. For the sub effects, it's a patch from the new pack. So what you need to do to make this sound is you need 2 sine waves at a low octave and then set the semitones apart. The further you go, the more of a wobble you'll get. And what I've done here is I've mapped LFO2 to the master tuning so that it goes down in pitch. And then this LFO is just to control the speed if I so wish. You can make the wobble fast or slow. And then to make it really distorted, I've used a rift. Without it, it sounds like this. Not as cool. That one adds a lot of character to the sound. And then lastly, the headaches horn stab. Now this one's in the Rampage preset pack. All the work's done by this envelope 2 here. We've got FM from the sub, and we've got this low and high pass filter opening up. But it's just sawtooth waves with a lot of unison on it. And then this EQ being lifted up as the sound goes on. But yeah, that is essentially it. That is the whole bass sequence. And then to make it a bit more interesting, in the second 16th, I've mapped the LFOs of the laser. And I've pitched it up an octave and I'm changing the rates about just so it's not as boring. Pretty simple stuff. Chase and Status seamlessly fuse drum and bass with urban music, often featuring prominent vocalists and rappers. While securing big-name collaborations might be challenging for most of us, you can elevate your track by exploring rap vocal loops on platforms like Splice or creating your own bootleg versions of your favourite urban tracks. Embrace the creative freedom to chop and rearrange vocals, transforming them into catchy rhythmic loops while still preserving the essence of your original performance. So yeah, like I said, you know, they had some massive names on the album, and for most of us, we struggled to get any vocalist on our tracks, right? So what I've done is I've looked at some of the people that they've worked with, Quengface in particular, and I've just looked at his biggest track and got the acapella. Huh? Anyway, so I'll play the acapella first, and then I'll show you how I sort of chopped it. I know it doesn't sound the best on this track, but I was struggling for time and wanted to get something out there to you guys. So the vocals are from his Daily Duppy.
Look, this Barbie said she fight too much, now she's out here calling me Ken. No, I ain't Joey or Phoebe.
You can hear the original beat in it a little bit, but it's not too bad. So I've let that play for the first 16 bars. So what we do is we chop it up for the build-up and then chop it up once again for the drop.
Look, chop out the rhyme and slap that. Look, chop out the rhyme and slap that.
And then it goes a bit faster.
Chop, 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 chop. Look, chop out the rhyme and slap that. Look, Barbie said she fight. Now she's out here calling me Ken. No, I ain't Joey or Phoebe. Ross, till now I ain't doing up friends.
So as you can hear, I've chopped it up quite a bit. It's not the best thing you've ever heard, but it does the job. And when you layer it with the beat, it sounds okay.
Look, chop out the rhyme and slap that. Look, Barbie said she fight. Now she's out here calling me Ken. No, I ain't Joey or Phoebe. Ross, till now I ain't doing up friends. We're born up.
Doesn't loop the best back into each other, but we'll ignore that. If you're struggling to get your acapella sounding clean, like I did in this one, because a lot of distortion and stuff going on, what I've done is I've sent a dry signal into my bass bus, and then I've loaded up a track spacer. And basically what track spacer is it looks at the sidechaining signal, so the vocal, and then it looks at the bass, and basically reduces the bass by this ratio that you set here. So I'll turn it on extreme so you can hear what's going on.
Look, jump out the rhyme and slap that. Look, Barbie side, she right. I she's out here calling me Ken. Nine, all your Phoebe, what's cool, I ain't doing up friends. We're born up, look, this not clips, doing up stems. I know it's hiding, if I can't find, then I'm doing it.
And yeah, I've just set a lower amount, just so it's a little bit easier to hear, and then we're not losing too many harmonics. And I've also set the low cut to about 400, so we still preserve everything in that 200 to 400 range, and the sub bass as well. In the expansive world of Chasing Status, the intros of the tracks stand out with big, open, and anthemic soundscapes. To achieve this, layer dark and gritty ambiences, blending them seamlessly with a well-crafted drum loop. This dynamic combination creates a balance between spaciousness and rhythm, providing the ideal canvas for your vocals to shine. Experiment with stacking different atmospheric elements to craft a unique foundation that captivates listeners from the very beginning. Now, to create my atmosphere, what I did is I used one of my atmospheres from the pack. And that was all it needed, to be honest, because I've layered, like 5 or 6 sounds in this one, and I'll play it to you now. As you can hear, it already sounds very evil, and in the pack, there's 21 of these, and they're all... That's pretty good. All right, anyway, on top of that, I've obviously chucked on the vocals.
Look, this Barbie sash.
And then a classic hi-hat. And then about this drum loop, what I've done here is I've just taken the drums from the drop and rearranged them. Then the only thing which isn't from my pack in this whole project is this drum fill, which is from Splice. So yeah, that's what I've done. You know, you put a few effects in. So we've got this impact right at the start, a sub drop, riser, impacts, and then you've got more risers that go into the drop. And then we also have a drum build up from the pack. But yeah, you know, when you layer all those elements together, there might not be a lot going on, but that's all you need. You know, you just want a good, strong vocal and a nice atmosphere with some nice drums.
Criminal, bad individual, might step round there, beat it like MJ. Yo, we don't turn up the estate, browsing 2 shit 10 on that dead day. Look, first time came through the front door, so it's the back where Crane face escape. Man still trying to shoot on your block with a white boy, style like Presley. Look, jump out the rhyme and slap that clock. Jump out the rhyme and slap that clock. Jump out the rhyme and slap that clock. Jump out the rhyme and slap that. Jump out the rhyme and 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 jump. Look, jump out the rhyme and slap that. Look, Barbie sash, she right. And she's out here calling me Ken. Nine, all your Phoebe, what's cool.
Anyway, you get the idea. Sorry about the shorter video today, guys. We've got a lot going on with uni and stuff like that. But yeah, like I said, the Black Friday sale is now on. It will only be going till Tuesday at midnight. So Wednesday midnight, whichever one it is. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you are interested in one-to-one tuition, then please go check it out on my website. If you have any questions, let me know what you want to see on the channel next. And without any further ado, I'll play the song now and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.
Look, this Barbie sash, she fight too much, now she's out here calling me Ken. No, I ain't Joey or Phoebe, Russell, Rachel, no, I ain't doing up friends. With bro on the up block, 2 sticks, doing up twits, doing up schemes. I know he's on hiding, if I can't find him, then I'm on doing his friends. I'm a smooth criminal, bad individual, might step round there, beat it like MJ. Yo, we don't turn up the estate, browsing 2 shit 10 on that dead day. Look, first time came through the front door, so it's the back where Crane face escape. Man still trying to shoot